Everyone deserves good, qualitative and prompt healthcare services, irregardless of the area they reside. But people living in the riverine communities do not have access to these services. On the program this morning, we'll be taking a look at healthcare delivery in riverine communities. Hello and welcome to Health Business. My name is Oluwatoyin Kolawole.
This is Oriba, a riverine town in Epe local government area of Lagos State in southwest Nigeria. About 30 villages make up the Oriba community, while the town serves as home to over 10,000 people. The main occupation here is fishing and farming. The community is dominated by women and children, but many of them are not healthy. Oriba has no functional healthcare facility, though there is a building for that purpose, but it is just a mere building, serving no purpose at present. Leaders of the community blame this on the nonchalant attitude of past governments in the state. They lament that the community always rely on non-governmental organizations, NGOs, to provide them with free medical care that do not come often.
This hospital has been built over 40 years ago, and this Oriba is the health center of Wasiwa. But immediately they opened this hospital, it was functioning, but later the workers were available. Láti bẹ̀yẹn ó di pé tán bá débí wọn rẹ̀ tó máa tọ́jú wọn, ó ti ní lack of something. But lẹ́yìn some years, that time yẹn tí ibi in generate yẹn, there is a bolt tó máa lọ láti Ògúntẹ̀dó Ìtọ́mù wá síbí tó máa àwọn doctor dẹ̀ máa ń lọ wọ́n máa ń bọ̀ ń fọṣọ ńgbà yẹn. But later tó ti ní lack of workers, well ó di pé tí ìṣòro kan bá dé ó di pé a ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ máa lọ Turkey tàbí ìgbà tó náà bá tiẹ̀ wá dá ọ̀nà yìí náà later ló ṣe pa wá mọ́ ṣe díẹ̀díẹ̀.
Ló ṣiṣẹ́ ní inú ilé hospital tá a wà yìí, kò sí nurse, kò sí doctor, kò sóṣìṣẹ́ pàápàá tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ ń bí. So àwọn nǹkan wọ̀nyí ó jẹ wá lógún. Tí obìnrin tó bá ń rọbí pàápàá aláboyún tó bá ń rọbí ń bí ń sìn àti gbé kọjá lọ gba ojú omi kọjá, ewé ojú omi ó máa dá wa dúró. Èyí ọ̀nà ni ò sí láti gbé àná náà.
We need road and this health center to be in workers.
Health Business found out that in the whole of Oriba community, there are no skilled health workers to attend to pregnant women and assist them during labor. Instead, Oriba has just one traditional birth attendant. Shukurat Olowolayemo is the only woman that takes care of antenatal and postnatal care of women in this community.
Ìgbà míì lóṣù mi ẹni méjì lè bímọ papọ̀ níjọ́ kan ṣoṣo. Ìgbà míì ò lè jẹ́ nìkan. Torí ẹlòmíì wà ẹ̀jẹ̀ a máa ya lára ẹ̀ tí n bá ṣe tí ò bá dúró màá ní kàn gbé lọ hospital. Wọ́n á wà láwá ọkọ̀ wọ́n á ṣàǹtẹ̀. Tí nọ́ọ̀sì bá wà níbí báyìí kò lè rí bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn.
She added that government needs to ensure that a functional health center is set up in Oriba so as to avert avoidable death of pregnant women in the community.
Mi fẹ́ kí ìjọba kan fún wa ní nọ́ọ̀sì àti dókítọ̀. Wọ́n dẹ̀ bá wa la títì wa tó rọ́nà dí. Ìgbà míì ewé máa wà lórí omi ọkọ̀ ò ní lọ. Títí bá wà á lè gba mọ́tò. Àmọ́ tí nọ́ọ̀sì bá wà ìrànlọ́wọ́ wà nìyẹn. Kò ní ìdìpá tó ń lọ sí ìta mọ́. Akọ́dẹ̀ máa bọ̀ ń bí ni.
While Health Business was at Oriba, a private organization in partnership with the state government brought a free medical mission to the community. This calls for a natural outburst of celebration as residents thronged the venue to benefit from the free healthcare services.
We are still asking for more. Not only on this one, we want permanent staff to be here working daily here so that as we sustain our people life. We are farmers and fishermen here. Anything can happen along the line. Where do we carry to? Where do we cry to? There's no road network that we can rush to. Let the government bring permanent staff here so that we can maintain them. We will like it instead of coming and going.
Experts have observed over the years that if both the government at all levels invest adequately in coastal health services in Nigeria, it will go a long way in averting untimely deaths, especially of women and children in riverine communities, and will also increase life expectancy in such areas and beyond.
Good day, viewers. Last week we were talking about regenerative medicine, and we're going to continue today as well. Today I want to mention some of the things or other things that regenerative medicine can do for you. Today, let's take diabetes for example. Diabetes can be type 1 or type 2. The type 1 is more common in the children and young adults, and sometimes it could be caused by autoimmune disorder. Whereas type 2 is when somebody did not have diabetes and all of a sudden, maybe later during their lifetime, they develop diabetes. It could also be because of being overweight, many other conditions. I mean, it could be related to drugs, drug-induced, gestational. There are many conditions. But what is important is this. Any of the diabetes is being caused because of there's a misbalance between the insulin supply, the effectiveness of it of driving the sugar, into the in the blood stream, into the muscles, so that it can be used as a source of energy. This is a condition that affects many of us in Africa, and it is important that that is not the end of the world, thanks to regenerative medicine. With the understanding and the availability of adult stem cell therapy, today people can be taking off the diabetic medications, or the worst, they get to the minimal dose to address the diabetic issues they have. And to do this, we use, for the source of adult stem cell therapy, we use bone marrow. Your doctor can decide to use fat, or it could also be umbilical cord blood. These are possible sources of stem cells that can help your body to regenerate. And the way it works is that the pancreas has certain cells. The islet cells are like a unit in the pancreas that produce insulin. When the patient is treated with adult stem cell therapy, the pancreas starts repairing itself, regenerating itself, having more units to produce this insulin that is needed. And what you find out that after a while, the patient will be using lower doses of their medication, their body is able to produce more insulin, and then eventually they can get off. Mind you, there's also another component, of this problem that we call insulin resistance. That is when there's enough insulin, but the muscles are not sensitive to it. Another benefit of using regenerative medicine for diabetes is that we can prevent all the complications that are associated with diabetics. If one, and by the way, the earlier one decide to get adult stem cell therapy to address the regenerative medicine, the faster and the more effective the treatment is going to be. By doing this, you're going to prevent complications of kidney failure, the heart being affected, deficiency of blood supply to the legs leading to amputation, and and many other problems. So it is very important that you understand, if you don't want to be on medication for the rest of your life, regenerative medicine could be an option for you. I'm Dr. David Ikudaise, a US board certified internist and regenerative medicine specialist. I will see you next week to continue on other conditions that regenerative medicine can treat. Thank you for watching, and make sure you tune in next week.
It's important that government invest heavily in healthcare delivery of people living in riverine communities to avert untimely death. Next on our lineup is the pharmacy segment. Don't go away.
There has been reports of young people across Nigeria engaging in the illegal use of popular painkiller tramadol. Instead of getting the drugs on prescription and use as directed by physicians, those who indulge in the use of tramadol procure the drugs through illegal means and use as stimulant in various situations. Pharmacists say they indulge in this act because the drug helps them bypass the steady release of medication that would otherwise follow its intended oral administration. Abuse of the drug in this manner can result in a relatively rapid delivery of the drug to the brain, which can also cause serious side effects. Health Business went to a selected pharmacy in central Lagos to find out how rampant the demand for tramadol is.
How often do people come to your pharmacy to get tramadol?
Initially, tramadol was not thought as a very as a drug of abuse initially. So people were selling tramadol, no problems. But was recently, in the last few years, we started realizing that yes, there's something happening in society. People are definitely abusing it. They're using large doses. Young boys are coming for it, and you can see that talking to them, they use it to get a sense of euphoria. And then we looked more into the chemistry. We also looked more into data coming from America. The same thing in America. They didn't realize it was a drug of abuse till they started having the problems in society. And they realized that not only were people getting addicted to them, to even withdraw them was difficult. So it became a controlled drug. Initially, it was not controlled. And the same thing happened in Nigeria. A few years back, we started saying, look, it can only be sold on prescription because this drug is now abused. Because what is happening with tramadol is that even we initially thought it was not as addictive as the other stronger ones, obviously strong ones like morphine. But with time, we now realize that not only does the tramadol, when you take it in, it gets converted to other chemicals that are actually strong, stronger chemicals that give as much as a euphoric effect as the other ones that we thought were the bad ones. So tramadol does change inside the body to more stronger chemicals, which give a stronger sense of euphoria. So why it's very popular amongst a lot of our youths and even elderly people. People take as much as 200 milligrams in one go to get the sense. But the problem is, the more you take, the more you need. That's the problem with those narcotics. You know, your body sort of gets used to the lower doses. You have to keep taking more and more doses to get the same high effect. And we're having a major problem in the country now.
What is the place of the National Drug Guidelines in tackling the demand and sale of tramadol?
The laws in Nigeria, as it is right now, they're not strong, they're not up to date, and then our laws are not well regulated. That is standard. Because this tramadol, as we in pharmacies, how many pharmacies are there really in Nigeria? There's a whole load of patent medicine sellers, there's hawkers, people selling the bridge. Tramadol is available everywhere, and it's very, very cheap. It's ridiculously cheap. So it can be bought anywhere. The regulations are so weak. Yes, I can be saying I'm only selling with prescription drugs. All they need to go to the nearest market, and they'll see it with the hawker there. You know, the young boys are going around buying it there. You know, hawkers is what I will call them. They put all these little kiosks down on the streets, especially in the evening. You know, but nobody's raiding them. So really, it's not something that can be done by pharmacists alone. The country has to come to the realization that we have a problem with abuse in Nigeria. And then the only way to stem that abuse is for the regulatory authorities to do their jobs. Why should the patent medicine seller be selling tramadol in the first place? Well, it's done. Why should they be selling things like benylin? It is done. Go to the market, you see it there. Walk the streets at night, you see it there. So what really, this is a problem that is broad. And till our regulatory agents get out there on the streets and sensitize the general public, I don't know what can be done.
Pharmacists noted that when tramadol is abused for recreational purposes, it can create a near immediate sense of pleasure and happiness, which makes the user intoxicated and stimulated. However, it is unsafe as the side effects can be seizures that could lead to death.
Infertility is still a major issue in Nigeria. Many people still use concussion because they are looking for children. Let's join Dr. Abayomi Ajayi to tell us the latest development in fertility treatment.
Hello, welcome to Understanding Infertility. My name is Dr. Abayomi Ajayi, and today we're going to be talking about endoscopy. The first thing is to tell you what endoscopy is. As the name suggests, endoscopy, to look inside of an organ without actually going in there. They are like telescopes that have been devised through which you can see so many organs. You can look at the abdomen, look inside the abdomen, you can look inside the uterus. But why do we need this in IVF? Because we know that the aim of every practitioner and even the patients is to maximize the chances of IVF. We keep telling you about the success rate of IVF. That it's not 100%, but that's when everything is even okay. And therefore, when there are some things hindering the procedure, the rate might be abysmal. There are two main types of endoscopies that we use in gynecology. One called the hysteroscope and the other one called the laparoscope. As the name suggests, hysteroscope means that looking inside of the uterus. So we can see anything that is inside of the uterus, or what we call the endometrium, the inner lining of the uterus. So this includes fibroids, polyps, scars, what we call adhesions, especially when it follows the popular surgery that people do in this environment for fibroid surgery. There's a lot of fibroid surgery being done. Some of them, if you ask me, not necessary, but of course they're done. And then also sometimes you can even have what we call septum, in which case they can even divide the uterus into two parts. And some people come like that, that's the way they are made. And if all these things are not taken care of, can, apart from failure of IVF, can also lead to miscarriage. So you see some people who got pregnant now losing the pregnancies. And therefore, that's why it's so important. IVF centers put endoscopy into their armamentarium. There was a study that we did here in this center. We saw that 61% of our patients have problems in the endometrium. So we can say that hysteroscopy should be taken for granted in this environment. It's something that we must do. But what about laparoscopy, you asked me? Laparoscopy is actually looking inside the abdomen, okay? And that we need to do even when we're doing IVF sometimes. For example, sometimes you see somebody either has had a ruptured appendix or has had any problem in the abdomen or endometriosis, and the organs are matted together, and you need to separate them a little bit so that it can give you better view of the ovaries. Sometimes also because fibroids, we can remove fibroids through the laparoscope, and we can actually, we're getting bolder with these fibroids that we're removing through the laparoscope. So bigger fibroids are being removed up to about 5 months, that is compatible with 5 months pregnancy. We can remove using laparoscopy. And then of course ovarian cysts can be removed through this. And sometimes there is a particular thing that we do with IVF. People who have water in their tubes, what we call hydrosalpinges. You know, when you have water in your tube, we've seen that decreases the success rate of IVF. Because the water, because they're static, it's infected, and anything that is infected that comes into the uterus makes it a little bit more difficult. So we sometimes have to clip off the tube before we do IVF, and this has been shown to increase the success rate of IVF. The question you ask me is that, okay, what are the advantages? Of course, the advantage includes that you have faster recovery. I mean, people have been known to go home even after major surgeries done through the laparoscope, you know, and there is very minimal scarring because we don't handle the tissues, you know, and then of course it is cosmetic. What are the disadvantages? The main disadvantage is that there are very few people who can do it in Nigeria, but it's getting a little bit better, but you still need to know where you choose the centers properly, and rarely there can be injuries to the bowel. I think that's where we'll stop today. Remember, together we can conquer infertility. Catch you.
This is where we draw the curtains on today's episode of Health Business. You can be part of the program by calling the numbers showing on your screen. My name is Oluwatoyin Kolawole, and the program is Health Business. Remember, living healthy is a serious business. Until I come your way next week, bye for now. Thank you.